But then the last 7Ks was just a nightmare. It was, and I remember turning right off 5th Avenue into 60th or whatever it's called there.
Did you do the New York Marathon?
Yeah, and then I wasn't crying. My eyes were sweating, and
Sure.
I was just saying to myself, just bank this feeling, just bank it. One, it's going to be good to finish this, and don't ever do this to yourself again. I'm not built like a runner, and I think that's a really important thing to understand, is that if a truck is a truck, it's not designed to go around corners, it's designed to haul big loads. If it's a sports car is low to the ground, it's designed to sprint around. If it's a whatever else, a Grand Tour, it's designed to go long distances. I'm none of those things. And it was the second time I've done it. So I've done the distance 3 times. Once on the Hyson Trail with our CFO. And,
oh wow, that's cool. That's some bonding right there.
Yeah, and another mate. So we just took off on a 45k walk, and we just started running in the morning. And one stage we looked at it and said, well, if we just speed this up a bit, we'll do a sub 6 hour marathon through the Adelaide Hills. So,
wow.
And that was we were in training for the one last year. That was in the middle of last year. So I was in training, and Tim also came to New York with me. Another couple of mates who went and did that, took our wives, and
wow,
had a fantastic time. So have you ever run one?
No.
Ever gone in?
Maybe. I like the idea of that mental challenge.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like the process of getting into the process of signing a piece of paper and saying, this time next year I'm going to be running 42 kilometres, and your pants are a bit tight and all those sorts of things, or you're carrying a bit of bulk. You just think, well, all right, I've signed and I think that's why I signed up to New York in 2014, because I thought, if I sign up to Adelaide, I'm going to find a way out of this. Pinky hurts, or I've broken a nail or something like that. But I signed up. I had to raise a heap of money for charity to get my position in there. So, and we were 100 years old that year. So we raised $108,000 for the Jodie Lee Foundation, bowel cancer.
Wow.
My grandma died of bowel cancer, so something pretty close to my heart, my dad's heart, and all that sort of stuff. So we're going to do that. So we had this big function called 100 Not Out, raised all this money, we tipped that in, and I went over there as part of the Jodie Lee team to run the New York Marathon in 2014. And I trained all year, did a really good job, and stuck to my routine. And it's probably the first time I ever really learnt that discipline of what a routine is. And you think you know it when you're studying, or you're working every day, or you're raising a family or anything like that. But when you get home and you've had a stinker, and you still got to put on the sand shoes and go and get 12 Ks under your belt before dinner, you just think that's discipline, and you think, far, this is not what it's cracked up to be. And also there's that fear that you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
I think it was sort of 3 months into it, I went out and I ran from my place, which is near the Parklands here in Adelaide, and I ran a full lap of Adelaide around the Parklands, which is 21 Ks.
Wow.
Half marathon. I remember coming into the house in like 10 seconds under 2 hours, and just being just shattered, and my wife standing out the front, gardening or watering or something like that, and she said, "Oh, that's really good. How far did you go?" I said, "Oh, it's a half marathon." She goes, "So could you leave right now and go do that again?" And I went, "That's not a chance. I can't get to the end of the street." So that fear builds up. It's like, well, 10 weeks ago, I was sort of comfortable at 10 Ks. Now I'm getting to 20. And then you go out and do that every sort of weekend until you build up. And then you're doing sort of 3 or 4 weekends in September, October, where you're doing 30 Ks on a Sunday.
Yeah.
And I think you learn a fair bit about yourself.
Yeah,
30
wow.
Ks, especially if you haven't got headphones in or something like that to listen to you.
Yeah.
That mental toughness, or if that's what it really is, or just stupidity. But you do learn that. And I really enjoyed that process. Like, I enjoyed going home that day and having a shower and standing in the shower going, well, wow, I've done something I've never done before.
Yeah.
And and quite frankly didn't think I'd ever been able to do. You know, I played a lot of football and have done a lot of sport over the years, but never really been an endurance person. I like the thought of endurance, you know, and I think over the years I've learnt to enjoy the solitude of going out there and going for a run, or going for a ride on a bike, and just there's that hour where you're actually, because you're concentrating on trying to draw breath, everything else sort of goes by the wayside. You don't have your phone in front of you, all those sorts of things. So it was a good process. I recommend it to anyone. Like, as long as you're not going in injured, and it doesn't really matter how big or small you are, you know, it's something you can get ready for in a year. One of the girls who ran it in 2014, I think, her first training run on New Year's Day, she got 600 metres and threw up.
Are you joking?
And you're just thinking, well, lady, you're 11 months away from running 80 something times that distance. You know, hopefully without swapping, and you want to do it in a reasonably good time. And she got there. She could, you know, she had lots of support around her, and you just build up. Your body will, I guess, it'll adapt to what you want it to do. So, anyway, that's that aside. It's a good process.
I feel like the podcast started just then.
Did it?
Before, because I'm already recording.
You're already recording. You can edit that into the back end if that's how you want to start.
No, I like starting because it's just organic, like it's authentic.
Yeah.
And the more people I talk to, because I'm like, oh, my podcast, I need it in a studio. I need to be more prepared with questions. And then people are like, no, I like how you say and and you know, there's those moments of silence. And
well, it's riffing, isn't it? That's what you're doing. You're riffing on. You and I are just having a chat and see what. And we don't know each other. For those of you out there in podcast world, we don't know each other, so we sort of made contact over Instagram, I guess. And
I just
did a random question about motorcars. So which led to this here. So away we go.
So I'm here with James Kennett, the I'd say co-owner or owner.
Yeah, co-owner.
You and your brother own Kennett Builders, fourth generation, building extraordinaire. Yeah. One of the best building companies in South Australia.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope we are. Yeah, we try. That's what we want to be. You want to be known for that.
Yeah.
When your name is stapled to the front door, you want your behaviour to be seen as ethical, and you want the product we spit out has to be pretty good. It has to be second to none. We pride ourselves on our quality. We're not here to be the biggest builder in South Australia. We don't want to turn over the most money or anything like that. We do want to be known for the product we spit out. You want to walk into that building and go, yeah, these guys have put this together well. They know what they're doing. So, and you like that. You want to know that you're also waking up every day and what you're doing you're actually good at. It'd be terrible to go off and go, well, I'm a builder, I'm pretty crap at it. I'll have to do this and chase some turnover and that sort of stuff. No, we enjoy what we do. I think we're getting rewarded as well. We've got some really some really cool buildings on the go at the moment. Doing a fantastic one down on the old football park site for Uniting SA, who have been a great client of ours, and we're building this just a fantastic, complex, complicated 5-storey building that's going to go where the northwestern light tower was at Footy Park there. It's a $40 million exercise. For us, it's probably another $10 million for them to buy the land and get it drawn up and all of the processes around that. So it's a big investment by them. And when people are tipping in that sort of money, they expect everything to go right, and they expect. And we what we build is bespoke. We never get to build this again. So you've got to have your processes in place that make it easy for your client, make it work for your architect, make it work for your staff to make sure that they can follow our processes to build the building that's been designed. So that's going to be a pretty cool building. So as you go down to Westlake, during the summer, ride your bike around Adelaide, have a look at that one going up. It's going to be 5 stories. It's just a great little reinvigoration of that block of land, I think, that we all probably grew up in Adelaide loving, because we go down whether you're watching Port Adelaide or with the Crows or whatever else, our NFL team. So that's all gone now, and then this is what's going to go in its place. And it's a good spot. It's a good part of the world. So and we're putting the roof on the Memorial Drive tennis court at the moment. So that's going to have an 80-metre clear span. So you know how the stretch membrane goes around the top of the Adelaide Oval? Yeah. This is matching that, and where they sort of reach out 30 metres over the stand, this is 80 metres from corner to corner across that whole centre court area of Memorial Drive. which I think if you're following us on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or that sort of stuff, you can see this stuff going up. And I think next Wednesday the first lift goes up, and that's an 80, I think it might be a 90 metre span truss. It's all going up on a couple of cranes being hooked up in the air. So,
oh my lord!
And we're driving those in. It's good logistics exercise at the moment. We're driving those in from Edinburgh every day or every second day, and we're sort of leaving Edinburgh at midnight. Travelling at 10 kilometres an hour, which is just a slow
10 kilometres an hour.
A slow jog, really, from Edinburgh. And this truck that is so long, it's twice the size of a normal articulated vehicle, and we've got to march that through the city around certain roads that can take the bend of this thing. We steer the truck from the back and the front to get it around the corners.
Oh wow!
And they're these big, huge. They're called canoe trusses,
right?
Because once they're up, they will look like an upside down canoe. So
right.
And then once we've got those up, there's going to be a fantastic tournament there in January. So everyone get along to the Adelaide International and support tennis in South Australia. It's a good client of ours.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So you said you don't want to make the most money. You don't want to.
I don't mind making money. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want to turn. I don't need to turn over
you don't need a lot of turnover. You don't want to be the most turnover. You don't want
chase
to
it. Turnovers. It's a funny concept. People look at it like a score.
Yeah.
And the one with the biggest score wins. But you could turn over twice what we do and make half of what we do.
Yeah.
As an end result. But as long as we're turning over the right amount of money to make a fair amount of money, no one's ever going to get, it's not like Saturday Night Lotto in the construction industry. It's very competitive what we do. The margins are very, very thin. Which is why some people will chase a lot of turnover. They think, more turnover, get those margins up. But I think it's a case of if you can build it quicker, build it smarter, better quality, so you're not going back repairing things. That's a bit of the philosophy we take.
Okay.
And look, the turnovers, don't get me wrong. If you were here 3 years ago, we're a $50 million company. We'll probably be a $120 million company this year. We've already got $105 million banked for this year, or booked in the books for this year. So we'll probably pick up another $15 million worth of work. We're not going to go pick that up because that's a number.
Yep.
Let's chase 120. If that 15 million doesn't land, I've got things for everyone to do in the meantime. So to get us through the end of the year, so we'll be grateful for what we got.
Okay. Yeah. What I was kind of getting at was you don't care. You don't focus on the turnover. You don't focus on doing the most. You don't focus on being the biggest. You focus on being the best. Is that?
That's probably a fair assumption. You'll hear that from a lot of people, but I sort of take that Porsche philosophy. They're not the biggest car company in the world.
Yeah.
They're not the most expensive car company in the world. They're not the cheapest car company in the world. But time and time again, people go back and they compare what they're doing, whether it's Toyota, Honda, Bentley, McLaren. They'll always go back and compare themselves to one of Porsche's products.
Yeah.
And they're a good company. They're fourth generation family company, or fifth generation now. They've been around for longer than us technically. In the automotive game, I sort of like to compare myself to them and say, well, that's a good philosophy. Just don't try and be Toyota, who does the most.
Yeah.
Don't try and be Hyundai, who makes the most money, or Volkswagen, who makes the most money.
Yeah.
This is what we do. So, and the product's renowned, I think.
Yeah.
For
definitely
what they spit out. So.
Oh, that's for sure. And I think that's what's going on with the Australian car industry, is like Australia and Commodores and stuff are trying to be like Toyota or like the Korean companies, and they're just losing its Australian edge to it, and they're just trying to be something else.
Well, they're all gone now, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I don't know where they went wrong. The last two Commodores I drove, which was the last two lines, cars off the line, were brilliant cars. I hired one, I guess, when I landed somewhere and took one out of the Avis lot, or where it was.
Right.
And then one of our lads here bought one of the very last V8 Commodores, very bright green colour. So a bit of a looking car, and it's just built well, and it seems to be what we're all about. But maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe maybe we all looked at it and we all grew up in a Kingswood wagon and we all had fun and it was great, but we didn't have the choice of Audi and BMW. They were luxury. Audi was a quirky little brand. BMW and Mercedes were luxury. And if you saw one on the road as a kid, especially my age, I'm 48 as of today.
Is it your birthday?
Yeah, it is.
Oh my God, happy birthday.
As we were,
wow.
As a kid, we were, you'd spin around and say, it's a Mercedes-Benz, or, heaven help us if we ever saw a Ferrari, you'd just about
fall over.
Chiropractor because your neck would spin. But nowadays you sort of go, there's one, and everyone's got a Mercedes. They're not everyone, but they're a Commodore. A C-class Mercedes is saying, hey, we work hard, I'm a family man, I've got a mortgage, and that's what so maybe that's what killed the Australian car industry. It's just hard to say. We're not a scalable nation because of our population.
Right.
You're trying to sell Commodores to 20 million people. You're trying to sell Volvos to 200 million people.
Yeah.
You've just got that. It's an edge, isn't it? It's the ability to scale up your product and, long rest.
Yeah.
Golden, I guess.
Yeah. But that's being the best at what you do best is what I love, and I find with me, the more I grow, the more I realise who I am, and the better I get because the more I realise who I am. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does. No, it makes that. Well, it absolutely makes sense. That's just regardless of what you think and how quickly we try and take things on. Time is the best teacher of everything we do. I think of myself as a 21-year-old and what I thought I knew. You actually, as a 48-year-old, you sit here and go, well, I knew very little back then, and now I think you become humble enough to realise you still don't know a lot. So every day is a school day, and you wake up, and I think you have a bit more fear about it because that constant barrage of information we get, especially these days where it comes from telephones and I mean, just we're constantly sitting in front of information being thrown at us.
Oh yeah.
So you're learning, and we've got to filter a lot more, I think, than what we used to. If you're anything like me, you're scrolling through Pinterest or Instagram or any of those sorts of things. You're looking and going, there's a meme. What does this guy say? Leonardo DiCaprio says blah blah, and you go, hang on. Really, I don't need this.
No, you don't.
I've got to filter this out, and I don't need to. I don't even need to know what he thinks. I'll take the little bits of snippets of information that are out there, and I'll make them work for me and my family and my situation. Yeah, and just that growth is organic, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's very hard to make yourself smarter than you are, or more experienced than you are without having that experience.
Yeah,
and time. That's
patience.
I guess.
Yeah, cool. So do you know much about how the business started? Like your great
so it was my great grandfather, Charlie, and his brother, both bricklayers, stonemasons.
Wow.
So they used to hold the rocks in their hands and hit it with a comb hammer and carve the bluestone and the sandstone from Adelaide quarries into whatever, and those beautiful old houses that some of us live in. All built with rocks, really, and they were both into that game. They were one of there was 8 children, I think, and they had sisters and other brothers, and they all went off and did something in the construction industry, whether it was running a haberdashery shop or some of them were over on York Peninsula, getting working for what is now Adelaide Brighton Cement.
Right.
And setting up that and all those sorts of things. So everyone was in the construction industry. These guys went off and they started building some houses around Croydon, almost at the end of the street where we're sitting here, and down towards South Road. And it just grew. They employed their father, Sam, who was a guy who looked like Santa Claus, big guy, big white beard, and big curly moustache, and it was all stained with nicotine, and all that sort of stuff, probably from smoking a pipe. And he was a stonemason too, and I obviously he was born in the 1800s, so I didn't get to meet any of my grandfathers. They all died before I was born. But for the stories go around, you'd shake these guys' hands, and they were just calloused from holding sandstone in their hand and beating it with a comb hammer into the right shape, or just laying bricks. So I had these, we've all got these lovely moisturised skin hands now. Our pins slip through our fingers because we're so dainty. But no, these guys, I think they were real men. That's what they started it for. It was, they were a little bit too old to go to war. It was the middle of World War One. It was a volunteer situation back then. They would have been a little bit older, so they started this company. And then when everyone came back from World War One, they had this ready workforce.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth was, that part of the world was being born out there north of Adelaide, and we went out there and got Kennett's got a contract with the South Australian Housing Trust. I think we built 2,500 houses out of Elizabeth, or anywhere out sort of north of here, and maybe some south, but I think it was predominantly north. And at the time, our office was on Main North Road, in where Rapid Surf and Ski are now, the water ski people. And then we also had a hardware store where Radio Rentals is on Main North Road now, opposite the big yellow building there on Main North Road. And that was the haberdashery, joinery, and the wives worked in there and making curtains for these housing trust houses that were building row house after row house after row house out there. And the business really grew from that. By the late 1920s, I think there was 80 employees on the books.
Wow.
And that would have been very few admin staff and a lot of people doing things when things tend to reverse. Now we use subcontractors, but so that's sort of how that company started. It was just we're bricklayers, we'll start building some houses. Then, as with a lot of business, I guess happenstance. The war ended. There was a ready workforce and a need for these houses. There was a population boom. And we've been through that a couple of times in our company. You can't sort of track it as a very linear growth thing. It's gone up, then the Great Depression, then back into World War II, down again.
Okay.
And then the boom times after World War II, the rise of the subcontractor coming in. So they didn't work for us anymore, but the plumbers went off and worked for themselves, and they'd work for other builders, and you'd subby them in. So, and that's still how we build these days. But I think from 1992 onwards, we've had which was a pretty horrific time. Under Keating, I think, and the recession that we had to have, and construction industries, what we do is we thrive on growth, prosperity and progress, and none of that was happening under this government, and it was worldwide. You're not going to sit here and blame governments for things. My father, then the rest of the family wanted out of the business. He had to buy them out. It was really a bit of a tough time. And then since then, we watched him grow it, and he fought and kept hold of this business from 1992 onwards. And then I joined in the early 2000s, and my brother had been there, and he was off in London at the time building. And then he came back in the sort of the mid 2000s, and since then we've both been here and with our father, and we've really put some solid growth into the business, and turned it into something that we're pretty proud of. I'm sure lots of people have been proud of this business as we go through, but it's easy to look at a business and say the rise and rise and rise of a business, but our employee numbers have gone up and down. We're 105 years old, so it's I guess we used to say about 5 years ago we're a 100-year-old startup company, because we have to think about the innovation. You don't want to be branded with they're just the old school boys or anything like that. You want to be going out and going, no, these guys are into different types of construction methods, using modelling and 3D modelling and library of information and big data and all that sort of stuff. So and we're getting pretty good at doing that, and we've got a lot of young kids in here. Young kids, the under 30s. That punch above their weight and do a really, really fantastic job for us, and our stars on the rise a bit at the moment.
Wow, that's so cool. I love that little catch. Do you have that written somewhere, the 100-year-old startup company?
No, it was
so
something
cool.
I was at I was doing a presentation to an SA leaders group or something like that, and I was talking about all these things that we're doing and how we're changing, and we're going to bring this in and we're going to bring that in. And I said, I guess we've had this many employees, we've doubled that in the last 6 months. I guess we feel like a 100-year-old startup company.
Yeah.
And it just, and a couple of people have thrown it back.
That is so cool.
And it's really good. It's just, we've changed a fair bit in the last 5 or 6 years. So, yeah, I guess you need to reinvigorate, don't you? You've got to keep reinventing yourself and offering especially in what we do, you have to offer some point of difference, because only one builder can be the cheapest. It's like anything, only one person can be the cheapest. So you have to provide something else to the market, and if someone's just looking for the cheapest, then maybe you're that builder on the day, maybe you're not. But if someone's looking for a little bit of extra, I don't know, another way of delivering a project, then let's find that way for them.
Yeah. So what you've constantly adapted, over the last 105 years, what have you learnt from adapting quickly, and how do you adapt quickly? When do you know when to make quick decisions, and when do you know to okay, we need to think about this, what are we going to do?
We're a reasonably conservative company, so we're not out there trying to pump up, rally the troops and get it going every day. We're not Google, and what we do needs a lot of consideration, and it doesn't change a lot. We're building buildings that if you don't do it properly are going to look terrible, or you can't use them, or that they don't fulfil what their end intent was. So, what was the question? How
do you adapt quickly? When do you know when to make fast decisions and when to take your time? So not in terms of I
think we take our time with a lot of things. We probably, because we're conservative in nature, we consult with our staff.
Okay.
So we're not. We have this sort of saying in here that we're family owned. We're not family run. We let our executive, our CFOs, our commercial managers, our regional managers, they're allowed to make these decisions and stand by them. And if the decisions are wrong, or it's a mistake, you can't do anything about that other than to say, hey, well, that happened. We let you do it and it didn't work. Let's move on. It's not you don't hold a gun to anyone's head. That wasn't the right thing. I think of knowing when to make a fast decision. The other thing about being a family company is we don't have, while we are consultative to our executive and that, if we want to make a call on something, at the moment it's myself and my brother. I'll just walk down to his office and say, I want to do this. Yep, let's do it. No, there's a better use of money somewhere else. So we make that decision pretty quickly. If we want to roll something out, we'll take it to our construction managers or someone and say, hey, we want to do things this way. Yep, okay. So we're about to roll out Zoom, which is just an app that goes across. It's going to go across the company for teleconferencing.
Okay.
Because we're spread out all over. We've got an office in Mount Gambier. We've got 11 sites around Adelaide at the moment working, and we spend a lot of time in cars, which is not great for the environment. And we also waste a lot of time. Okay, I'll hop in the car and come out and see you. So we're going to roll out Zoom. Brought in a couple of guys on Friday, a couple of the younger team members, and said, I want to do this. Showed it to them. Showed it to a couple of other people. They said, yep, that's what we're going to do. And then as of today, it starts rolling out across the business, and you just make that decision and let it happen. And those that will take it up will take it up. Those that don't will learn really quickly that they need it. Or they're going to miss out. So that's... How do we know when to do that? I don't know.
Okay.
It's a really good question.
Communication is what I got there. So you go, you're like, oh, is this the right decision? I'm going to go ask my brother. I'm going to go consult with some of the young guys, some of the other execs.
Yeah, exactly. Ask. Ask. Don't tell. Hang on. Ask. Get the answer. Then you have, as a business owner, a business leader, you have to tell.
Yeah.
So you have to say, right, okay, I've taken on board everything you've said. You guys were right there. We're going to do this. Or look, I've taken on board everything you said, but I really want to do it my way. Take it this way. And they're really good. If I say, no, we're not doing it the way you suggested, I really want to do it this way and there's a reason why, as long as you can justify your reason, they'll back you in.
Okay.
We've got good guys like that. So.
Yeah. How have you gotten better at communicating with your staff?
Great question. Cracking question, because we were crap at it. And we were crap at it. We know this because they told us, you guys got communication. And this is only going back a few years now. It's like, and there's always an us and them mentality between the guys out on site and the guys in head office. It's I think they sit and think we play golf. whatever. It's just an us and them mentality. We're at the coalface and you guys are in there shuffling paper. But so the first thing we do is we have an executive meeting on the last Thursday of every month. So that's where the team leaders come in and we make our decisions. The following Friday of every month we have a communications meeting, which everyone in the office comes to, everyone from site is invited to. Some do come, some don't. And we run through everything that's going on in the organisation. Who's having a baby, who's been employed, who's left, what do we discuss at the exec and how are we going to roll that out? So you actually, it's no good discussing that at the exec and then just hoping it sort of, some form of osmosis ends up happening in your business. We say, this is what we're going to do. Or we portray to them, what are we going to chase? What sort of work are we going to chase this year? What actual projects do we really want to target? So we'll let all the staff, from the receptionists and the labourers through to the commercial managers, know what we're going to be doing. The other thing we do, which is really great, and I'll flick you a copy of it because it's something that for a little company like ours is fantastic. Our brand manager runs a thing called an internal comms, and it's set up on MailChimp, I think it is. And it's just a rolling, scrolling thing. So she might sit there and build this for 3 or 4 days. Every time she gets a bit of information, or one of the guys from sites will send her a great photo of something they're doing, or whether it's a Are You OK Day, or anything that we're doing in this organisation goes on this internal comms. So if we're building something for Animal Welfare League and the guys are down building a school somewhere else, they never even talk to each other. They see each other at their Christmas party, and they never even see the job. So this all goes on this one internal comms now. It just goes out to every single staff member saying, this is what's happening. So that's how our communication.
Wow, that's cool. It
was a good question because it didn't used to be like that.
What about what you did before was bad?
I think we thought we were communicating.
Yeah.
But just talking a lot's not communicating.
Yeah.
Just talking a lot. It's got to have some substance to it.
Okay.
And it's got to be relevant to what they're doing. And some of the things you'll look at and go, surely everyone knows we're doing this already. No, they don't know we're doing it already because you're not speaking to them on a daily basis. So that's our comms between them. And I don't think we were doing that very well. And it's hard to spread yourself out. There's only 3 of us. When Dad was here, then there are 2 of us now. To get out to those 11 sites and to our regional sites, and then to also go to all the meetings we have to go to drum up new business and keep our existing clients happy and all those sorts of things. So outsourcing it from just being from Scott and I to we bleed it through to a few people who bleed it through to a few more and make them responsible for it. So a lot of the big organisations, public companies have communication officers.
Wow.
Communicating to the public or communicating internally. They have someone who does that. We're not quite that big that we can afford that now.
Right.
But watch this space.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what did you learn sort of growing up, seeing your dad running the business and all of that? How did you ever see him?
He did. No, my dad was great. He spent a lot of time with us. He used to come to our footy matches. And he brought his work home. He had an office at home. So he'd come home, have dinner with us and then go in there and do his work. So we got to see him. He helped us with his homework. Probably the biggest. Once again, it's another great question. I probably looked at him doing what he was doing and thinking, that's not what I want to do. I want to. As a little kid, you want to be anything else but build it, don't you?
Yeah.
You don't realise you're building Lego and you're doing it anyway. I can't remember what I wanted to be. Dad wanted to be a farmer. He went off and worked as a jackaroo down at Keith, which is where he met Mum. And my brother wanted to be a farmer. He went off to be a jackaroo and he went out to Glendambo. So a fair way north of nowhere. And I think he learned pretty quickly he didn't want to be a farmer. Or he didn't want to be a jackaroo, and he definitely didn't want to be that isolated. And I went off. I did retail. I used to work for an American company called Timberland who make shoes. All the wonderful
good
things.
Shoes.
I had their the shop here in Rundle Mall that I used to run as a reasonably young bloke, thinking I knew everything. And then I went off and did finance, and then worked for Westpac for a number of years, and GE Finance, and did a bit of a stint with a trucking company in operations, and sort of cut my teeth doing all those sorts of different businesses, but really getting a feel for it, not realising, just trying to find my way and see what I wanted to do, I guess. And then my brother was overseas and an opportunity came up to come and help Dad out, so I did. And well, I came in for a few days and then got an offer from GE Finance to go and run a startup credit facility that they were doing. So I went and did that for 6 months and then came back. And it was really just a good time. It was just Dad and I and some very loyal staff that have been here a long time, and it was fun. But I just enjoyed it and have stuck around ever since. And I went back and studied construction.
Okay.
Well, as soon as I got back, I thought, I'm going to stay here, and went back and did principles of design and construction technology, and here we are.
Okay, wow.
19 years later. 2002, so 18 years, I guess.
Did you ever go through like a teenage puberty years where you're like, I'm never going to be like you, Dad, I don't want to be a builder, or was there ever that?
No, I respected what he did.
Yeah.
He worked hard. I was proud of the fact that I was part of a intergenerational family company, and Mum used to do the typing when I was a little kid. Dad would come home with his dictaphone, and Mum would put the headphones on and type up his minutes and things like that. It was a family effort. They always built great houses for us to live in and things like that. So we don't have a log cabin story. I've always got sent to great schools and those sorts of things. So I've always been very lucky and very appreciative of what they did for us. And Dad's a very quiet, very gentlemanly sort of person. I don't think he would have taken too well to someone kicking up and I'm not going to do what you're going to do. He would sort of look at me like, where did that come from? And he never said we had to. He just never pressured us to be honest. Hey, go out and do what you want to do.
Wow, that's so cool.
And so we came back organically, the pair of us.
That is so cool.
And I wish I'd done it earlier, sort of, but I did learn a lot when I was here, and hopefully I brought some of that skill set. I learned a lot in retail, actually. I think retail teaches you to work hard, teaches you to get up early, teaches you to deal with the public, money, all those sorts of things. It's just got a bit of everything. So, and I worked for, my first job out of school was with Thwaites Menswear, and it's fantastic. And Mark Thwaites is still a very good mate of mine. I credit him with a lot of some of my skill sets. I was a reasonably shy kid, and he knocked that out of me within a few weeks and turned me into a suit salesman of all things.
Wow.
So, and I really enjoyed it. I love working for him.
Okay.
It was fantastic.
What did you learn from him? Like, what got you out of being shy?
Thrown in at the deep end. Here you go. I went in to buy a suit, actually, because he played footy with my old man, so I knew who he was, and I went and said, okay, I need to buy a suit. Why? Well, I just finished school and I'm going to go and do some study, but I probably need to get a job. Right? He put me in this suit, which was, it's god awful. It was the name of the suit was a Mancini Disco. So they just say a whole lot. It says everything about 1989 that you really want to know there. It was black with little opposite flecks going through it in white.
Yeah.
Very wide shoulders and skinny hips and flared. Yeah, it was a terrible suit. And he put this suit on me. He said, "All right, well, you start on Monday. So you're working here." And I'm like, "Oh, I really don't know. I don't know anything about suits. I don't know anything about this. No, you'll learn. You'll be fine. Don't worry about it." That was fantastic. I had many years there while I went through uni and went and lived overseas for a bit and came back and was out of money. And Mark gave me a job to. It was really good.
Wow.
I love that part of I always think that people who've worked in retail, you can see that when they're working in an organisation. And retail, I don't just mean selling suits and that. If they work in McDonald's or KFC or something like that, you always find those guys, they understand a deadline.
Yeah.
And that's because they've got to get the burgers out.
Yeah.
And you think, well, that's a really great skill set, isn't it?
Oh, 100% it is.
Fantastic. You always look at a resume. If someone says, I flip burgers, that's not going against you, I can tell you. That's a good thing, unless you were particularly bad at it.
Yeah.
We always look at those sorts of things.
That's really cool. Okay. So how have you taken that being from going shy to being, more confident and being able to handle rejection and dealing with people?
Well, let's go back to the shy thing first. I think I learned very quickly that it was more fun not being shy.
Okay.
And I was never in the upper echelons of the cool kids at school or anything like that. They were always my friends, but I just didn't have that wherewithal to roll with roll with the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
I had a good group of friends, and I could be very quiet amongst them and be loud when I needed to be. But I think coming out of your shell and talking to people, you just realise everything opens up for you. So maybe it was always there, but Mark Clayton certainly brought that out in me. He'll probably tell you that he bullshit that I was never shy. That always been a loud mouth, but no, I wasn't, and he was a big part of making sure that I became a little bit more confident and enjoyed what I was doing.
Okay.
And he made it working there fun too. It was just a great atmosphere, and I worked with his sister, who I then worked with at Timberland, and I loved doing that with her. She's
cool,
a super human being. So just they were good people.
Okay. So being confident in sort of who you are and what you're selling and what you're doing, is that important?
Yes, it's absolutely important. But it's very easy to be confident when you're backed up by a good team who are going to do
right. Okay.
What I do at the moment, my job is to go out and say, hi, Mr. Principal of this school, may I have $30 million of your money to build you a new classroom facility, and so they're entrusting you with a lot of money, and I'm asking for it, and then I'm not building it, I'm giving it to these guys to do. They've got to back up what I say. So that confidence comes from employing the right people. I think we've got pretty good at surrounding ourselves with the right people.
Okay.
And realising that we don't know everything, but we'll employ people who know the bits we don't.
Yeah.
And we've done a reasonably good job. Actually, we've done a very good job.
There you
Our
go.
staff here
Extraordinary.
yeah, they are. We've just got a really good patchwork quilt of people in here at the moment, and different skill sets, and not everyone can be the same, and we've accepted that, and we've actually learned to make that work for us.
Yeah.
We're very happy with it. The way it's all sitting at the moment.
That's awesome.
Things are dynamic. They'll always change.
Yeah.
Someone will leave, or we've had a very good guy just go back to the UK to live and stuff. So that sort of blows a hole in the project, and you've got to backfill it really quickly. But I think we probably have got better at sourcing talent as well. So,
okay.
And looking at that sort of stuff. My wife's an HR manager and has worked in public companies and very big companies, Coles Myer, ARTC, Beach Energy for years, and I think she sort of vicariously got it through me what sort of things you should look for in people, and I think that's helped us with our talent acquisition to a certain degree. Not that I do a lot of it. My brother actually is pretty good at sourcing those sort of people, and our CFO Tim is very, very good at it as well. So
wow. Yeah, that's
asking
cool.
the right questions, just as you are today.
So when you go and you talk to these people for like $30 million deals, has there ever been a time where you think you overstepped and you're like, oh shit, like I might lose everything here, or maybe you've been building something and you've just lost, because I'm sure a truck's been driving and it's been broken down, it's been hit, and you're 2 weeks delayed, and you're like, oh my god, I said it'd be this deadline. Was there ever a moment where you're like, oh shit, it's all gonna end?
No, there hasn't been. I get up every morning with a reasonable amount of trepidation. What we do is dangerous.
Yeah.
Our processes, people entrust their well-being to our process to make sure they're robust and vigorous, and we're looking after their mental health and their actual health, their physical health. Making sure they return home, and this is getting to the HSE things, which always tends to bore people to tears, but if you want to know about the oh shit moment, I would talk to my brother openly, and he would talk to me openly about it, where we just go, I feel nervous about this going down, or this particular person or subcontractor's making me feel nervous.
Yeah.
And it's that gut instinct, that we've had a bit of a saying here: if it doesn't look right, it's not right. Just deal with it that way.
Yeah.
So don't look at it. The biggest mistake I probably made as a really young guy on a building site was walking past holes in the ground or loose scaffold or really dangerous things.
Yeah.
Back 20 years ago, and you go, well, I'm on this site. I'm 30 years of age, 29 years of age, or whatever. But there's a bunch of 60-year-olds on this site, and they're walking straight past this stuff. Maybe it's okay. Maybe I'm just thinking, and it's not okay. They were just that used to it, and they were the ones that always used to get injured.
Wow.
Back in the day, there was a lot more injuries on building sites. It was that flippant approach to it, or that manly approach to it. You know, what we do is dangerous courses. We love dangerous things, sharp things, heavy things. The heavy things kill you when they land on you.
Yeah.
I guess we've learned now, and we instill that to our kids here. Hey, if you walk past it and you're standing with a 50-year-old site manager and he's just not even looking at it, and you're looking at that hole in the ground, cover it up. Put a barrier around it. If that's a loose wire there and you don't know whether it's live or not, go and get the Sparky to test it and mark it, and just do whatever it takes to make sure that that no one gets hurt.
Yeah.
Particularly yourself.
Wow.
So that's my oh shit moment. It'd be great if we were all artists painting on the wall. One of us getting a bit of paint in our eye or inhaling some fumes or something like that. But we don't. We're doing a lot of different personalities and a lot of different skill sets. And you've got people who maybe left school a lot earlier and don't have that higher level of education. You're dealing with people who are university qualified and have masters in construction, and so you've really got a big breadth of personality types and ability levels on a construction site and inside a construction company. And I guess that's the same with a lot of other engineering and manufacturing and those sorts of things. That's what you've got to watch out for to make sure that you don't lose fingers and all those sorts of things.
Wow.
Or something more serious. And I guess being a dad as well, and my brother's got a horde of girls at home as well. You always think, well, how would it be if we weren't coming home to these people?
Yeah, wow.
How would it be if I had to go and tell someone else that their husband or wife's not coming home because they're injured or hurt or killed on one of our work sites? So, that's my oh shit moment.
Wow, that's powerful too. That's so important.
And it's ongoing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm never going to rectify that.
Yeah.
And I've got an HSE manager here who constantly comes and says, I want to do this, that, and the other thing. Geez, that's cumbersome. You've got to empower these guys just to make it happen, because they're protecting. It's not just protecting my ass from some sort of legal thing. It's protecting our staff from or protecting our subcontractors from themselves sometimes. So, yeah. It's a long answer to a short question.
No, that's a good answer. I love that. What has there ever been a project where it's just problem after problem, and you at the end of it you're like, wow, I'm really satisfied, or like a big? What's some of the most satisfying projects that you've built?
Okay, we'll go back. We'll put some individual ones. I did one recently for Cabra, where we did a music hall for them, and it was sort of designed and constructed. It became a very organic. I'm going to use the word collaborative, although everyone uses it. It's overused at the moment, especially in the construction industry. But the architect, the builder, the client, everyone came together and we went, we're going to build this fantastic thing. We're going to do it for this much money. And we kept working until we could build that fantastic thing for this much money. It's a beautiful, beautiful looking building, and it's nothing more than a big box with a big triangular window in it, but it just looks stunning, and it sits against the old Nuns Abbey there at Cabra, and the reflection of the gable end of this beautiful bluestone building shines in this black modernist box that we've built with this big window. So that was one of those ones that every time I see a photo of it, every time I go to that school or something like, because we're building another job there at the moment, you just walk past and the grin just comes up to your face.
Yeah, wow.
We nailed that. We really got that right.
Yeah.
And it was that's a good moment. We built a lovely lift in at the Adelaide University. Was actually, they needed to handicap access for a 4-story building which wasn't going all the way around and like that, so they needed to put a lift in, and the good people at Walderbrook Architects designed this stunning lift, and it's just a big glass, multicoloured glass edifice sitting out with bridges off every level taking you into this building, and that was a small $2-3 million job, but just amazing to work on and to see it come to fruition. And it's a meeting place in Adelaide University now. They meet you by the glass lift, and everyone knows where it is. So it's one of those little iconic buildings. They don't have to be big to be good. We've built $38 million or $35 million building out at Golden Grove, which is at the moment it's an aged care facility, so they're not architecturally going to blow anyone away. But architecturally, they work very, very, very well, and aged care is very complex. You're looking after people who are frail, and the access, the egress, the quality, the fit and finish has to be no sharp edges, all that sort of stuff. That's a fantastic building. I love being a part of that, and it's a great team. I'd worked with a lady who designs that, and she's probably one of the best aged care architects in Australia, and I'm pretty lucky. I get to work with her nearly constantly for the last 10 years. She's always got a job for us to do, and so we're very grateful to her. One, to be able to build her fantastic designs, and two, to just she has great clients as well, so we get to work with these really good people. So I like those sorts of things. I like most of what we do, really.
Yeah.
It's fun going out and building a big car park and getting all the white lines in a nice thing. You look at it and go, right, it's all black, no one drive on it. It's fantastic, leave it alone. And people drive mud all over you, that's it, it's ruined, I never want to see it again. I like what I do, you know. It's like, for me, it's like being in a sandpit as a little kid, you know, we're building something up, Tonka toys. We just get to do it as adults now.
Wow, I love that. Just a car park.
Doesn't matter. I'll make
most
it into
satisfying.
It's not the most satisfying. I'll tell you what, Zagami, you know, this is how you and I probably got to talk to one another. The boys from Zagami, I'd never heard of them before.
Yeah.
They're obviously big motor vehicle dealers in Victoria. Came across here and bought the old Bob Corradini's old site there, Prestige Motors, up on Glen Osmond Road, and they came to myself through a recommendation of one of our subcontractors and said, "Oh, would you like to build this building for us?" "Oh, what is it?" "Well, it's Lamborghini, Rolls Royce and McLaren in one place." "Oh, well," I just about nearly fell off a perch. I was pretty happy about that. So I'm a car guy, just unapologetically.
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, that's great." So we put this together, and that was another collaborative deal. Really fantastic client too, because they knew what they wanted. There was no compromise on anything. If we built something and they went, "Oh, you know, it could be, they could look better, we'll redesign it," we'd just pull it down and build it again for them. They'd redesign it, and they'd look at a wall and go, "You know what, that needs to be all glass. Let's take that down and make it all glass." And
So you actually built it?
we were building something and they were changing on the way.
Really?
And normally that's quite frustrating in the construction industry, but they were such a great client and they really knew what they wanted, and they knew what it was going to cost to do that, so they were just okay with it. So we got to build this. And have you been into Zagami?
No.
There, get your backside in there.
I'll go there after this.
Yeah, go in there and say good day, and just say you've been talking to me, and they'll show you around the showroom there. They love people going in there, and probably get you a coffee and all those sorts of things. But it's a fantastic showroom, and you get to look down through the glass over the Lamborghinis on the hoists as they're dropping the engines out of them and all that sort of stuff. So we've been up there, and we finished that job in January. We've been back there we need a shade sail over the back thing. Can you come and do that? "Oh, we're going to build a big wall for Bentley now because Rolls Royce pulled out, so we're going to do this all as Bentley." So we had to rebuild what was going to be Rolls Royce into Bentley, and that. So they were a fantastic client, and just that was enjoyable. It's not a big job. Once again, I think there's a bit of a theme here. Our biggest jobs are not necessarily the ones you really remember. It's the little nitty gritty ones where there's a really great result at the back end of it. Client happy, building looks fantastic, we're happy. So that was probably the most recent one I've had a lot of fun with. And they're a really great team of people in there at Zagami, so I recommend them to anyone who needs a supercar. Yeah. Really, which is all of us. We all need a supercar. And we all want a supercar. We all want a supercar. No one needs a supercar. There's no one in the world who needs a supercar, but everyone wants one. So if you want a supercar, go and see the boys up and the girls up at Zagami. They're fantastic.
Did they take you for a drive in one of them?
No, they've yet to do that. Well, that's not true. Actually, no. We've the friends of theirs or clients of theirs are friends of mine and clients of mine, and they have those sort of motor vehicles. So I get to put my backside into the seat sometimes.
Oh my god!
And either be driven around in the passenger seat, or I've had a couple of cracks at behind the wheel of some pretty nice cars.
Wow!
They're all mind blowing.
Yeah,
it's of engineering. They just. Yeah, you get out of those cars at the end and think, I've got to go back to work and work harder.
Yeah.
I need to forget that turnover thing. We're just going to get turnover, we need more money. I need to get a supercar. Yeah. Wow.
So how come you don't have you do have like a really nice Porsche. Like, tell us about your car.
Okay, so that I have a 1993 964 911. It was the last right-hand drive 911 964 ever made in that really traditional shape.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a rarity, and I bought it 10 years ago for not very much money because they were a bit unloved at the time.
Yeah.
They had some head gasket issues and those sorts of things, but mine had been sorted. so I bought this car. I've been looking for a Porsche for a long time, since I was a little kid. Actually, let's go back a step.
Yeah.
So a love affair with Porsche started when I was in kindergarten
in
Melbourne, and there was a very particularly lovely young lady who was at kindergarten with me. I forgot her name now, but her mum used to drop her off to kindy every morning in a 1973 911 T in Viper Green.
Wow.
And I fell in love with that car. Probably because of the little lady that was coming out of it. But anyway, I associated her with the car.
Yeah.
The association with the car stuck.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted a 911, and eventually I think my wife just got sick of it, and we just moved into a new house, and she said, "You're driving me nuts. Just go and get one." So I did. So I went and bought this thing in Melbourne and drove it. Didn't even eyeball it. Just rang up and said, "I think I want that one." And hopped on a plane, went over and handed the guy a bank check and drove it back.
Oh my God!
And I just love that car ever since. It's just the kids love it. The wife loves it. It's been a bit of it's become a family member really. It gets lots of love and attention, and we occasionally get to drive it and do things like that. It's one of those cars that's sort of appreciated in value. I probably couldn't afford to buy it again. So for that very reason, I probably can't afford to sell it either. You know, it's like breaking the 50, isn't it? Once you've got that money, you'll do something else silly with it.
Yeah.
So, and you always want a Porsche. So you've got one, and it doesn't matter what it's worth now. So I love that car. So it's just something that I guess was a bit of a reward for effort. And like I don't have a lot of toys. I don't have boats or houses or things like that. So that's
what you do for fun.
That's what I do for fun. That and a bit of travel with the wife. I like doing that. So
cool. So what's your next car? Would you get another like a GT3 or GT4?
Oh yeah, look, I'm in love with the 991 series GT3 Touring.
Okay.
So it's a GT3 without the wings on it.
Right.
Which is sort of a bit like me. I don't need all the fancy bits to hold me on the ground. And I don't think I'd ever drive it that fast enough that it was going to take off or anything like that. So the GT3 Touring appeals to me. It's got the centre lock wheels and those sorts of things, and all the other GT3 fabulousness about it.
Yeah.
But without the real flair of those, all the splitters at the front and that massive rear wing and all those sorts of things. So you might even be able to get them with back seats. I'm not quite sure. I haven't really looked into it. I love a 991 GT3. I think is the answer. That'd be a great car. But the other one, I'm just. I cannot get my head away from looking at every time I see it. Is the 812 Superfast.
Yes. God!
It's the greatest name ever given to a car.
Yeah.
Because people say, "What is that?" And you go,
Superfast.
Superfast. No. What is it? It's Superfast. You're covering two birds with one stone there.
Yeah.
You're naming it and telling them what it is. It's just a rocket, and just infinitely pretty. Just a really pretty car.
Yeah.
You look at it and go, it's not a hunkered down corner thrashing 458 or 488 or something like that. It's a grand tour in that sense, where you could put a small suitcase, not a large one, small suitcase and drive to Melbourne or Sydney or something like that and really enjoy the trip over there and probably get out of it not too exhausted. But not suited to Australian roads. But beautiful looking car. And they've got one sitting in at Ferrari on West Terrace at the moment. And every time I drive past there, I nearly ram up the back of the car. I lose concentration. That is a very, very, very pretty car. So I guess that goes to prove you're not a Porsche or a Ferrari guy. It's possible to like both.
Yeah.
You can
definitely.
You can like two things.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. So you're building. Well, are you in the process of building the new or designing the new Ferrari?
No, Ferrari's being designed. That'll come out of Maranello. So we are in talks with the Zagami boys about putting that back together for them, and probably putting, I don't think it's a secret, putting a Rolls-Royce dealership on the side of Ferrari there, because Rolls-Royce might have felt like they missed out a little bit with the other one, where Bentley are doing very well up there, but I think Rolls-Royce like to have a nice standalone shop, so we might build that next to Ferrari, and the mini garage has gone out of there now, so we'll bring the Ferraris forward and badge it up. But this one is taking particularly long because it'll probably be the first one worldwide released with the new corporate identity, the new CI. So yeah, good old Adelaide. Here we go. So there'll be one at Maranello and one at Adelaide. Apparently, I'm not sure of the real numbers. You can probably go ask the Zagami boys what they are. But we sell we're about way above our average here in Adelaide for supercars.
Right.
And I know we sell a lot of Ferraris.
Yeah.
And per head of population, we do very well when it comes to McLarens and Lamborghinis. And now that they actually have a showroom here, I think Bentley's doing very well as well. So I'd like to take some claim some responsibility for that. We just built it, those guys are selling, and they're fantastic. I think those cars sell themselves really. If you really want one, don't need to be convinced of what all the features are. Right? Just go in and start picking your colour and choosing your wheels and doing those sort of things. One day.
One day, very soon.
Very soon.
Well, that wraps up a very quick 60 minutes, it feels like.
It was a bit over 60 minutes.
Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on. Where can they sort of check your stuff out?
Hey, look, we're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook. It's just type in Kennett Builders, and you look for our logos in that Viper green, as mentioned before, of the young lady's Porsche, that sort of colour there. And if you see that, that's us. Click on, like it, and just follow our journey. It's a fun one to follow.
Yeah, look forward to all the stuff coming from you guys. The 100-year-old startup company.
Yeah, there you go. You can use that.
Yeah, all right. Thanks for listening, guys. And we'll see you next time.